He's kinda cheap and people think he's a freak. It's the Frugal Freak Podcast.
I'm Bradley, and welcome to the Frugal Freak Podcast, where I am considered the freak in society because I love to save the money that I work hard for. I would rather be financially stable than broke. I don't feed into a life of overconsumption, and I'm not stupid. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. I'm so excited to have you here. I am dog sitting again. I am securing the bag. Can I just say one thing? This dog does not go to the bathroom outside. I am not kidding you. They have a pee pad set up where the dog goes number 1 and number 2 in the house. What the hell is going on over here? But hey, we're here. I'm sure the title of today's episode is going to ruffle some feathers. It's titled Your Luxury Car and Designer Items Are Embarrassing. And we're going to talk a lot about it. I think this is going to be a really good episode. And I just do want to acknowledge, because I'm sure there's some budget baddies out there who are watching me who have either a nice luxury car or you have designer items. Friendly fire. I'm sending you so much love. This is not a personal attack. I'm just having a broad conversation about these things in the title. I'm not physically pointing to you and being like, how dare you? But maybe this episode will help you. I don't know. I actually do have a luxury item myself. It's sitting right to the left of me. I can't wait to show you guys, but you're going to have to stay tuned. I'll show you before we jump into today's topic, but I have a couple other talking points to cover first. But I do actually have a luxury item, which people would probably be very shocked to know. I do love this podcast, even if I don't necessarily always have the time to do it. When I do find the time to just sit down and talk to you guys and put these episodes together, it's actually really nice and I do enjoy it. So I thank you very much for being here. I almost forgot the elephant in the room, my eye. I do have an eye infection and I will be okay. Oh my God. I'm telling you, I don't get a day to breathe on TikTok. I don't know. It's starting to get kind of crazy over there, to be honest with you. Because people are so quick to forget I was once 20 years old, drowning in 6 figures of debt, making $12 an hour. Just because I'm financially stable now doesn't mean I always was that person. So quit hating on the underdog, okay? Quit hating because I'm living my best life because I worked hard to live my best life, and you keep going to the drive-thru. You keep online shopping. You keep wanting more and more and more instead of being grateful for what you have. And that's ruining your own life, honey. So you could be mad at me for all I want. I made choices to end up where I am. But to be fair, I never expected for this to be my life, and I'm very grateful for that. But I have worked incredibly hard, all on my own. No one helping me, no one holding my hand along the way to be here. Okay. I know, we know. Before we get into today's topic, which I think is going to be very juicy, I think it's going to be a very good conversation. So, like I said, I was just live streaming on TikTok, which is always so much fun. I love all of this. I swear every day I'm like, I cannot believe this is my life. Oh my God, do you hear the little tippy tappies? Do you hear the little tippy tappies? The dog has entered the room. Probably going to pee on the pee pad. That is so wild to me. I can't believe it. Someone suggested on the TikTok live for the podcast, I should do a Q&A. And I thought that could be pretty fun. So why don't you, if you're listening to this right now, if you have any kind of question for me, put it in the comment section. And then maybe I'll choose maybe in the next podcast episode, I'll open up the episode with answering some of your burning questions about me. It could be about money, living frugal, but it also doesn't have to. It could really be a question about anything. Like me growing up as a middle child, or that I played the violin since 3rd grade. Whatever questions you could think of that you've been thinking of that you would like an answer to, just let me know. And I think that could be a really fun way, because you guys know, before I get into the topic of my podcast episodes, I like to take the first 10 to 20 minutes to just kind of have a yap session with you guys and just chit chat and catch up on things. It's the lip balm break. Something after I film this podcast episode, I'm going to edit my video that I'm posting on TikTok tomorrow. It kind of never stops, and I'm so grateful that this is my life, but I just kind of wish people knew how much time and work all this takes to do, I guess, to kind of be your own brand and build up your social media page. It kind of never ends. And when I'm not filming content or editing content, I'm thinking about content or thinking about what I have to film. This has become You know when they say like people become their own boss so they don't work a 9 to 5 and then they become their own boss and they're working like 24 hours? It actually is kind of true. At least from what I see in building my own like social media platform and whatnot, or my brand, whatever, that it really does take a lot. It takes a lot of work, but the hard work pays off. I'll always say that. Used to, when I was growing up and YouTube became a thing and I was so infatuated with content creators and internet fame and all that, I always just was curious of what that life was like. So it's so interesting to now be on that side of it and seeing like just what it all looks like. And you get DMs from companies or like making money off of content. I am like I'm such like a content creator nerd. So this has just been the funnest couple years of my life, just kind of being part of that now. It's so crazy how I have over 800,000 followers on TikTok. And yet on here, I have about 8,500 of you. And yet, even though it's such a smaller scale than TikTok, like it feels so cozy to me. Like, I don't know. This feels like, I don't know. It feels like TikTok is like being the popular girl in high school. But then when I come over here, it's like me hanging out with my friends. It was like a very kind and supportive group of people here. And especially on my last episode, because I was reacting to that podcast that made their reaction about me and to my crazy content. But even the love that I got on my last episode in the comment section, because I reacted to that podcast episode that was reacting to my content, and they were talking about all the hate and criticism and judgment that I get, and just to see your love and support. I am going to try to post Thursday or Friday. I want that to be where when it's Thursday or Friday, you can expect a video from me. And I really like posting on Thursday or Friday because then it's like going into the weekend and it's fun and you could throw on the podcast while you're cleaning or you're driving or whatever you're doing. So yeah, I just wanted to provide you guys some structure that I hope to post weekly and to post every Thursday or Friday. Why don't we jump into today's episode? Oh my God. I wonder how people are going to react to this conversation. I do run some things by you guys on TikTok live when I go live. I like to mention ideas for videos I have. I literally call you guys my PR team because I'm always like, what do you guys think about this video idea or this topic? And every time I go live on TikTok and I see everyone react, they're like, yes, 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 do it, do it, do it. I'm always like, okay, thank you, PR team, because I know if it's something you guys want to see, I got to do it. So I mentioned this on my TikTok live a few days ago. I was like, what if I made a podcast episode titled "Your Luxury Car and Designer Items Are Embarrassing"? And everyone was like, oh yes, like you have to do this. So I got the approval from my PR team, which is you guys. And sometimes I like having this podcast because it makes me, I feel like on topics that could be controversial, I feel like I get to dip my toe on here and see how you guys react. And then I'm like, okay, if it's getting a good response or a good reaction, I'll post it on TikTok. Like I'll make a separate video. So I'm going to see how this video goes or how this conversation goes. Like I said earlier on in this episode, I myself have a designer item, which I think people would not believe because people just wouldn't think I would ever care to own a designer item. And I probably will make a TikTok video about this one day, but I like to kind of give you guys exclusives as well because I feel like, okay, you guys came over here to support me and, you sit through these long episodes, which I appreciate. You sit through all the yapping. And so sometimes I like to give you guys a treat of getting the exclusive before I talk about something on TikTok. So I'm going to show you the luxury item that I have that there's such a story to it. And again, on TikTok, I'll make a video about it one day, but I'll show you guys first. So I have a pair of Louis Vuitton sneakers. And oh my God, do I have such a story with these? I love these so much. These are everything. They were made at the beginning of 2007, and I'm pretty sure this was literally produced the first week of 2007. Is that not fucking iconic? Because my heart is so stuck in the 2000s for so many different reasons. And the fact that these were made in 2007 is just everything to me. And so the story behind these sneakers and why I have them, let me just get it out of the way first. I paid $100 for these. Not fucking kidding at all. I found these on eBay for $400. I never would spend $400 for a pair of shoes. But if anyone uses eBay, when you watch items, sometimes the seller will give you an exclusive offer for watching it. Does that make sense? Because they know you're interested, so they'll give you an offer to try to push you to buy it. I got a notification the day after I watched the listing for these sneakers that the seller was selling them for $100. I am not kidding you. And I paced back and forth in my apartment for like 20 minutes, and I was like, Bradley, okay, wait, I need to like share. So long story short, oh my God, guys, what is wrong with me? Bradley, get to the story. Shut up. I get so in my head, and then I like just talk in circles for 20 minutes. Hold on. Here's the story. In high school, I wanted to be the rich kid so bad. So bad. And it never was for the stuff. You know, I was a loser. I got bullied in high school. Look at me now. They wish. Now they're all losers. It's like so funny how life works, I swear to you. But all the popular kids were rich. So I wanted to be popular because I was in the closet, I was not attractive, and I got picked on a little bit and blah, blah, blah. High school was when I really started to realize money in my family was a problem. And I think high school is when a lot of people, because, you know, now you're, 16, 17, and you're starting to mature and your brain is starting to make sense of things and you're starting to kind of understand how money is and how money works. So high school, I really started to realize the problems that my family was having. And I always remember I just wanted to be the rich kid, and it was never for the stuff. It's because I was so jealous to think that there were kids who got to go home and money wasn't a problem. And of course, it's not to say there weren't other problems in their life or there weren't other issues or their parents weren't a complete mess. Like I'm a huge advocate to say money doesn't buy happiness. Like the richest people in the world could be the most miserable. You know what I mean? So I'm never saying that, but I just was so used to money being a constant problem in my family. It was causing constant fights. I was exposed to all of it. It was really chaotic and it was kind of traumatizing, and it put so much stress on me and my body as a teenager, which feels so unfair, but it is what it is. It happened and I can't go back. And I just remember wishing I was the rich kid so bad because I just wanted to be like one of them, where yes, they may have had problems in their life, but it didn't involve money. Because again, money's not everything, but money plays a massive role in our lives. And it's like no matter what problem you have, money will likely make it better. I was just thinking about that earlier today, but I think about that often. Like anytime you have a problem in your life, when money is also a problem, that problem is like 10 times worse. Because a lack of money always causes even more issues and even more problems. So anyways, this is going to be so silly, but when I was in high school, I would go on the Louis Vuitton website and I would look at sneakers that had the monogram on them. And I thought, oh my God, if I could just get a pair of Louis Vuitton sneakers, I can be like one of them. And again, I didn't want to be the rich kid for the material things, but I knew if I had the material thing, it would have made me feel like I was one of them or look like I was one of them and be a part of that, even though that would not have been my reality at all with just with the problems I had in my family regarding money. So I literally constantly would look on the Louis Vuitton website, looking at their sneakers, only caring about the ones with the monogram logo, and knew I could never have it. And I wish I could remember the price in the late 2000s of the Louis Vuitton sneakers. I swear it was in like the $300 to $500 range, where now Louis Vuitton sneakers are like well over $1,000 for a lot of them. Such BS. We're going to talk about it. But these hold such a special place in my heart just for so many reasons. And again, it's like, do I love this shoe? I do love this shoe. But what I really love about this shoe is what it represents. It's that I've been able to do so much with my life that I never thought was possible. I never thought I would own a pair of Louis Vuitton sneakers in my life. And especially a pair that is so close to my heart because of what this represented at that time in my life when I wanted it. And it's like I was able to create a life for myself, which again, $100 is not like impossible to afford. Talk about the deal of a effing lifetime. I can't believe it. Look at the little LV logo. Oh my God. These are the best. They're the best. And they're like a half size too big. So they're kind of big on me, but I don't care. I love them to death. I got the deal of a lifetime. If I wanted to sell them, I would 100% make profit on them, even though these are probably going to go in the casket with me, because they just mean so much to me and they're so special. I mean, completely beat up, like probably worth $100 to be honest with you. But the little logo on the sole, oh my God, I love it so much. But so you guys are probably going to call me a hypocrite for the video I'm about to make because I'm about to drag designer items to death. But hopefully you'll see the difference between the story I just shared and the topic we're going to talk about. But oh my God, everything, absolutely everything. I just love them so much. Can I say though, for a designer shoe, they're not really comfortable. They're not really comfortable. I feel like they're well made, but like there's no arch support when I wear these. Like they're flat. Go figure, right? But oh my God, just like the LV denim, to be completely honest with you, because Louis Vuitton, I know I'm going off the rails at this point, but to be honest with you, Louis Vuitton came out with a denim collection. I think it was last year. And I was like, damn, these probably went up in value since that collection came out. These are everything. I just watched that clip back after filming, and I realized I didn't really give the most clear image of the shoe. So I'm just going to give you guys a close, like upfront look of it. I didn't realize it was kind of like out of the frame. So just in case you guys are curious, look at the little logo on the sole. It's so effing cute. They're pretty beat up, but they literally mean the absolute world to me, and I love them to death. So that is the iconic sneaker. And okay, let's begin. Your luxury car and designer items are embarrassing. And what made me think of today's topic for this episode is just that spending your money on that type of stuff, it's no longer it. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I feel like the 2000s were like probably the peak of how a luxury car or designer items were like the status symbol, or like made you look like the upper echelon in society. And I know people are going to say, Bradley, it's their money. Let them spend money how you want. Of course, whatever. You live your life how you want to live your life. This is how I live my life, and this is how I think about money. So that's why I have a podcast talking about this kind of stuff. But because I know this is probably going to come off judgmental, and I guess this discussion we're about to have comes back to your mindset about money, which I've talked about a lot in a handful of my podcast episodes, how to win with money is not just a money thing. It's how you look at money and think about money and respect money. So this is kind of almost like another money mindset lesson. How like owning a luxury vehicle today, to me, it just feels so embarrassing. Like, I feel like society's finally starting to get to the point where like people have had enough. Like the fact that I've seen so much mainstream media talking about like no spend 2025 and what it is. There was a random article about me. I don't know if you guys use Yahoo or whatever, but like when I open the internet, it shows me like random news articles. I was scrolling one day and it was literally me. And they were talking about like like under consumption or no spend 2025. So crazy. Oh my God, so random just to be laying in my bed looking like this. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my face on the internet. This is so weird in a like media article. But like the fact that I'm seeing so many mainstream discussions about no spend 2025, I really feel like we're on the cusp of people waking up that consumerism and materialism and influencer culture and overconsumption is on its way out, especially with the cost of everything today and how people don't have money to spend loosely like maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, which again, I think goes back to why the 2000s were like the time where having the luxury car or having the designer items really was something, where today I feel like we're just looking at you like, really? Like you're still playing that game? So we're going to get into it. But so this is the thing. Now that I live in a different perspective, is that the word perspective? Since I live in a different mindset with money, and especially now that I'm financially stable with money, it makes me look at expensive things differently. But so it's not me being jealous. This is not at all me being jealous. I could have, I know, bragging moment, but I worked hard for it, but just block your ears for 10 seconds if you don't want to hear it. I can buy anything I want. I can buy absolutely anything that I want. And if I wanted to have all the designer items, I could go get them. So this isn't me like being jealous or being bitter. I'm not one of them. It's actually really crazy now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, because when I lived in New York City 8 to 9 years ago, when my life was a complete mess and nightmare, I remember looking at the wealthy people with the nice cars and the designer items and all that. And I just was like, I was so jealous. Because, and again, I wasn't jealous for the stuff. I was jealous that they got to live a life that wasn't worrying about money. Because I just wanted that more than anything, and I never knew what that felt like. Anyways, living in New York City when you're broke is such an insane experience because there's just so much wealth in New York City. Living in New York City when money's tight it's a very tough experience when you see so much wealth around you and so many so many luxury hotels and luxury cars and fancy restaurants and all the designer shops. Like, it makes you feel so small. It was such an insane experience 8-9 years ago. I guess with my money mindset, and especially now that I'm financially stable and see money in such a different way, I'm going to say this and it's probably going to upset people, but I'm not kidding. When I see someone driving a luxury car, something just tells me they're broke. I don't know if you've heard the saying, I don't even know if this is a saying, but I say it to myself, but like, the real flex in society today is that your car's paid off. And that it wasn't a complete nightmare paying off your car. You know what I mean? Like, you selected a car that you could comfortably afford and that you paid it off. And you didn't have to sign up for a 5-year loan. You know what I mean? And you really have to think about it. Like, really, let's sit here and talk about this and why, like, your luxury car is just so embarrassing to today's society and standards. Like, I don't even know what the monthly payment for some of these cars are. And I'm not saying luxury car like a Bentley or a Ferrari, because likely the people driving those have the money and they're fine. And I would say this too. I feel like there's a difference between being able to afford a car and being able to make the monthly payments. Because it's not necessarily hard to make monthly payments to own a car, but it's like, is that monthly payment eating up a third of your income? and you decided to get into an $800 car payment to impress people who couldn't give less of a shit about you, and it's completely slowing you down from your financial goals, and you're okay, I'm already getting ahead of myself. But so let's just think about it. Why in society do we look up to these people driving their luxury cars and thinking that is the image of success? So just hear me out. Let's say there's someone who is driving like a new BMW. And when I say new, I mean anything that was made in the past like 2 to 3 years, like new. And, you know, so let's say they're driving that car and it's 800. I don't even know. Like, what's a reasonable monthly payment? Let's say it's $700 a month for a 5-year term because they were so desperate to get into it, but can't really afford it. So they had to spread it out amongst 5 years. So they're in a car payment for $700 a month. Then these luxury vehicles are, because they're higher value, it's going to be a higher cost to insure it. So let's say it's another $250 a month to insure. Guys, my car's 17 years old and it's a fucking Pontiac, okay? So I don't know what numbers actually are realistic in terms of a luxury car. But so now between the car payment and the insurance, we're at $950 a month. And then let's say you put in $100 of gas for the month. I don't know how much you drive. So for you to operate and drive and own a luxury vehicle, it's costing you $1,050 a month. And then don't even get started on oil changes and repairs. That for newer cars has gotten outrageous. I have to tell you, there's so many benefits for me owning my 17-year-old Pontiac. And if you watch me on TikTok, you know the Pontiac, the frugal mobile. Love it so much. And so for one, it is so cheap to insure. My insurance just went up and I pay $83 a month. And of course I pay for the 6 months up front, so I get the cheaper rate. Dude, it's a little 2-seater convertible, so it kind of looks like a sports car. And $84 a month for insurance. Because it's 17 years old with 115,000 miles on it, there's like no value to it. I paid $7,000 for it 5 years ago. You know what I mean? But what I also love about owning an older, not stuffier, pretentious car is that it's basic, which means the mechanic is likely going to have an easier time to repair it. Like, I've heard the conversation of people talking about luxury cars are like impossible to fix nowadays. And I believe it. All of these cars have touch screens. They have this in the seats. They have that in the ceiling. They have the camera in the back. And I'm just like, oh my God. Mechanics have no idea how to fix this shit. So now you're forced to go to the dealership to fix it. And that's automatically going to cost you way more than the mom and pop shop that knows how to put a plug together that came undone in like an older car. You know what I mean? I just see luxury vehicles as a money pit, like a useless, unnecessary money pit. And let's have the conversation too. So many millionaires, like there's so many millionaires don't play that game. Like there's a statistic out there that says the average car that a millionaire in America owns today is a used Toyota Corolla. Why do you think that is? And I realize it's because I don't think millionaires care about stuff. They care about money. And they care about what money can provide them. They care about the freedom money provides them. They care about the options and the opportunities that money brings them. I don't think millionaires really care about stuff. And sometimes millionaires are the most frugal people. So when people want to shame me for living frugal or look down to anyone living frugal or being responsible with their money, that is sometimes what the wealthy people do. And it's like, It's almost like the wealthy people live poor, but the poor people live wealthy. And that's why everyone stays where they are, because the wealthy are not burning through their money and they're either investing it to grow their money or they're just being responsible to keep their money that they work hard for, when the poor people are the ones who get the designer items. The poor people are the ones who get the luxury cars, and they keep themselves exactly in the status that they are. But they're broke, living such a big life that they just can't afford. And that's not me judging them. That's the reality of their life. And that's why 10 years ago, when I was in my beginning stages of my student loan situation, that's why I didn't go shopping. That's why I didn't go out to eat. That's why I didn't live a bigger lifestyle than I can afford, because I knew that wasn't for me. I told myself, I'm in so much debt. Why should I be going out to eat? I'm in so much debt. Why should I go shopping? I don't have money. I'm drowning in debt. And had I lived the normal, typical consumer life that society brainwashes you to be in, I would be 32 years old, exactly in the same financial situation I was at 20. But I decided, even though I was broke, to not live in a broke person mindset. And I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I don't want it to come off as judgmental, but when I see people driving luxury cars, I just think that's a broke person mindset. That is a broke person keeping themselves exactly where they are because they want to look rich. They want to look successful and they want to have money. The success is having the car paid off, babe. The success is being able to afford it in cash. The success is not forcing yourself into an $800 monthly payment for 5 years because you cannot own it. The real success is not forcing yourself into a 5 or 6 year car loan because you're so desperate to drive a car that you shouldn't be driving. For what? Make the sacrifices today so in 5 years you can drive that car. And in 5 years, it's going to be way cheaper because it depreciated. Can I just say, this is the shit that runs through my head like 24/7. Like, it's so funny. Like when I'm driving home from work and I just see like a nice BMW or a nice Audi zoom by me, I'm just like, I literally like roll my eyes because I'm just like, yeah, right. You probably can't afford it. You know what I mean? Again, this isn't like an exclusive discussion. I'm aware there's plenty of people out there who make a ton of money and they can afford the $700 car payment, the $800 car payment. But I guess I'm just speaking for the average person of today's society who wants to have a car so bad because of flex culture or influencer culture or keeping up with the Joneses. And I've said it so many times, why are we keeping up with the Joneses anymore? They're probably broke. The Joneses have got to be broke at this point because they have been living that lifestyle for how long? And it's probably caught up to them. I don't want to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses are probably on their way to bankruptcy, babe. Just do you. Stop caring about all these people around you. You know, this just popped in my head. When I graduated college, so it was right at the beginning of my student loan nightmare of $130,000 of debt with a useless piece of crap degree, making me $12 an hour. I needed a vehicle to get to work, and my classmate, God bless her, she was so sweet, and her vehicle was her parents' minivan that she like grew up having. And she was selling the car, and I don't know how it happened, but I might have overheard her talking about it, or I mentioned I needed a car, and I bought like a 25-year-old Honda Odyssey minivan with over 300,000 miles on it. If I can find an image, I am putting it on the screen. I was so proud of it. I paid $300 for it. And I did not care because money was tight and I was desperate. And the last thing I cared about was impressing someone. I was trying to survive. I didn't give a shit about anything. I was just trying to be okay and to survive. And the fact that I was able to get a car for $300, sign me up. So it's like, you know, I see people graduate college and they get into these nice cars right away because they feel entitled for something. You know, I started with the rusty old minivan 12 years ago. And now I have my little convertible that I love so much, that I dreamed of. And I took the time and I made the responsible choices to work up to it. I did not start there. I didn't start in the nice convertible. Everyone in society today would say, oh, treat yourself. Oh, get it. Oh, Bradley, you only have one life to live. Oh, Bradley, you graduated college. That's such a big accomplishment. Oh, you should get what you want. You should have what you have. Not when you're broke. Stupid! Because when you make broke people decisions when you're broke, guess what happens? I'll give you a minute to answer it. You stay broke! Stupid! I hope they don't have cameras in here. Every time my dog says it, I should always assume that there's cameras and they're listening to me. I get so mad. Stop ruining your own life with these awful decisions you're making to enjoy today. I do get to enjoy today, living frugal, despite what people think. Despite people thinking all I do is stare at a wall when the sun rises and the sun sets. And that's been my life. I love my life. I have a fun life. I have a great life. And I'm financially stable. But God forbid you say no to yourself. God forbid you say no now so you can have a life of yes later. God forbid you drive the old rusty clunker to get to work, to build yourself up, so then in 5 to 6 years, you can get the car you want. Oh, well, Bradley, tomorrow's not guaranteed. I'm going to tell you something. If tomorrow's not guaranteed and something happens, you're not even going to know. I hate when people tell me that. Spend your money because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Honey, if I go tomorrow, I'm not even going to be alive to know. I'm going to be gone. So I don't care. I will say it a million times. I am so grateful I started my journey on day 1 11 years ago. And if you're listening to this and you've let years go by, you've been spending for years, you haven't gotten it together, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. What matters is that you are starting right now. And please start right now. Don't let another day go by where you rob yourself of financial freedom and financial stability. This is not what this episode was going to turn into, but here we are. I see people ruin their life with cars. Not even nice cars. Even people driving average cars, and when they give me the numbers, they are ruining their fucking life. This car is eating up a quarter of your income for what? Because you couldn't get the $4,000 or $5,000 used car. You get an old used car, it's just going to require maintenance. So you get a $40,000 car? So that $5,000 car that you refuse to get because of maintenance, you're going to put $35,000 into it for you to justify getting a $40,000 car? I have had enough. I hate car payments. We're not even going to talk about leases in this episode. If you want to get the gold medal for wasting money, go get a car lease. Go lease a car. Go pour 3 years worth of payments into a car and then give it right back to the dealership. Who does that? Stupid people. I think we're going to get into the designer items. And this is where I feel like it's going to get very fun. So just like how I see a luxury car today is just embarrassing in today's economy, today's climate, today's society, I feel the same exact way for designer items. I'm sure some of you girlies out there have designer items, and I mean, hell, I have a designer item, but we'll get into it and then maybe I'll talk about mine. But, friendly fire. I'm not directly pointing to you, but let's just have the conversation. So I really feel like designer items have no weight in society anymore. Like, I feel like designer items at one point really were that status symbol and they really were special. But when I think of designer items today, I can't even wrap my brain around it. The designer game has become so effing outrageous. And people are stupid enough to play the game. Like, okay, this is alleged. I am just basing this off of a report. Please do not sue me. Alleged. But allegedly, Dior has what they call a book tote. And it's not even leather, it's canvas. It is a canvas book tote, like tote bag, that sells for probably somewhere between like $3,000 to $5,000. There was like a hit piece on Dior that went out last year claiming that the book tote cost $36 to produce. Oh, wow. And y'all are throwing $5,000 at Dior for that? Oh, embarrassing to be. Like, when I look at this, okay, let me get to the point first before, oh my God, can I like rest this on my shoulder like a parrot? Probably not. Okay, I'll stop. But like, to be so completely honest, everything designer today can be made fake. Anything produced today in a designer store, like a luxury designer store, can be made fake. And almost to the point where you wouldn't know. And I give that example because these were made in 2007, which was well before fakes got as good as they are today. And I know this is real, even though it was literally $100, which is so insane because back in 2007, they just were not producing fakes in this good of quality. You know, there was like Louis Vuitton Speedy bags that were like crap, you know, from like Chinatown that barely looked real. What point are you trying to make by spending $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000? Let's not even talk about Hermes. Because those are insane, like $20,000 for a bag. But like, people are selling themselves to these designer items. And it's like, at this point, for what? You want to look like an upper echelon? Honey, someone could go online and buy the same bag that you just spent $5,000 for $50. Okay, this is another point too. And then people are going to say, well, Bradley, what about the quality? What about the craftsmanship? I have heard so many endless stories that luxury designer items have gone down in quality so effing bad over the past like 2 to 3 years. And their prices are going up while quality is going down. And you guys think this is like something that makes you special? This is why when I see people with, and again, I feel like if you got a designer item from like 10, 15, 20 years ago and it's vintage, are these vintage? If it's holy shit, in 2 years, these are going to be 20 years old. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Holy shit. This isn't good. Like, I want to make this point too. Like, if you're going to buy designer, do it secondhand. Because again, I can appreciate a luxury item, but the real clown in society today is someone who's throwing $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to these designer items when the quality's crap and then anything could be made fake today. Like, knowing this shoe came from 2007, I feel like it's excellent quality, because quality back in the day was really something in luxury items, where today it's just like mass-produced crap with a logo on it, which now makes it $2,000, which is so stupid. Sometimes I get bored and scroll on eBay and I'll just look at random things. And sometimes I'll look at Rolex watches and see like how much they sell for. And obviously I can afford a Rolex watch, but when I really sit down and I think about it, I'm just like, it is a fucking thing to tell me what time it is. And I'm going to fork over $5,000 to $10,000 for that? For what? So I can feel better than someone else because it's a Rolex? And then if I really wanted one, why don't I just get a fake one? Because there's a million fakes. I almost feel like a rich person today would rather just get a fake and save their money. Like, it's just not what it used to be. And this is why I made this episode titled, Your Luxury Car and Your Designer Items Are Embarrassing. Like, Why are you playing the game? It's just not what it used to be. I don't know. It's just like, why do we sell our lives to these luxury items? Like, the fact that there's like pop-up shops, people wait in lines for hours to get into the store to buy like the new shoe or the new whatever. And it's like, what have we turned into? And this is such a product of all the things I'm against, like overconsumption, consumerism, materialism, influencer culture. You know what I mean? Like, we are so bound by these luxury stores. It's embarrassing. Like, it just doesn't represent what I feel like it used to represent. And again, it's like, can I afford the Rolex watch? Yes, but my phone screen also tells me the time. So why am I going to spend $10,000 that I worked so hard for on something that could be fake for $30 that no one even knows anymore if it's real or fake? You never know anymore. Everyone has everything because everything's fake. And I just cannot believe people still to this day will go into these luxury designer stores or think it makes them special or it makes them above the rest or the upper echelon. Like, honey, we're kind of laughing at you. And I'm sure you have so much money that you wipe your behind with $100 bills that maybe you don't care. But I also know there's so many people who shouldn't be buying these things, but they do. And they keep themselves exactly in the bad financial situation they are because they want to have these things to impress people. So grateful I never had the I care to impress people gene. Because all I wanted was financial stability. And I just wanted to be financially free. And I did it. And I'm so glad I never, especially, oh my God, especially being a gay man. Most people who watch me are girls, which is actually very interesting. Because before I really got into my frugal content, more guys were watching me than girls. But like, you guys don't realize me being a gay man living like this, I am like, you have better odds of seeing like a pink unicorn walking past your window than a gay man living an under-consuming life. Like, gay culture is out of control when it comes to money and spending. Everything fancy, everything designer, everything has to be perfect. We have to stay in the nicest hotel on vacation. I am so far removed from all of that. No, thank you. Because then those are going to be the same guys who probably have no money in the bank. I would rather live a life that is simple. I wear simple clothes. I make good choices, but I'm loaded. like that to me is my success. To be completely honest with you, to continue the conversation, like, I'm going to be so for real. Whenever I see, like, if I'm on dating apps and I see guys who dress really, really well, or all of their photos are in like fancy restaurants or like vacation spots or something, sometimes it's actually off-putting to me. Are any of you like that? I don't know, because again, society wants us to look at the person with the fancy jewelry, the designer items, they're dressed well, as like, that's successful. But they may spend so much money to look like that they have no money, pretending to live this big lifestyle, but they got nothing in the bank. And it's like, I would prefer the opposite life, that I live a small, simple life, but the bag is secured. The bank is stacked. You know what I mean? Because that is, at least in my life, that makes me happy. And that's my definition of success, that I have options, I have choices, I have financial freedom. And I don't know, like, sometimes I went on a date. Oh my God, this is just popping in my head now. I went on a date like 3 years ago, maybe. He pulled up in a BMW, like a newer one, had like designer jewelry, like a Gucci bracelet or something. And I think he was wearing like a designer t-shirt. And I'm telling you, I was so off put by it. And like, maybe I'm just from another species, from another planet, that like I'm the only person who's like this. But again, like they probably dressed like that to impress me, and it actually was a turnoff. Like, I'm so not impressed by your designer stuff. Because two things. One, it could be fake, or the fact that anything you spent so much money on could be made fake. So what was the point of buying all that? But then the second point is like, I look at these people and I'm just like, I feel like you don't have money. It's so crazy because we've been brainwashed to believe you have money if you present yourself in that way. But the way I see it is like, you probably don't have money because you're buying $300 t-shirts, $500 bracelets. You're driving an expensive high car payment car. Like, that leaves you with probably very little at the end of the month because you're living a bigger life than you can afford. And I'll say it all the time. That is how so many people who make $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck because they are convinced I make big money, I should live a big life. And then it catches up to them. And then they're paycheck to paycheck, they have nothing saved, and then they want to blame inflation and living in a big city. Blame yourself. You are a sucker for the system and you're playing the game and you lost. Everyone who plays the game of overconsumption and consumerism and trying to keep up with the Joneses, you will lose the game. Because you're burning money out of your pocket that you worked so hard for what? Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I think I covered all my talking points. This actually, I feel like was a great episode. Not to pat myself on the back, but I went into this episode being like, damn, I have no talking points. Like, this all came from my head. And this is why I'm telling you, my brain up here is absolutely insane because this is what I think about all the time. I just think about this kind of stuff all the time because I'm so fascinated by it. And I'm so fascinated by the psychology of money and just how people value their money or spend their money or how society's brainwashed to spend money. I'm so fascinated by all of it, but I really didn't know how this episode was going to go. I just was like, okay, that's going to be the title and let's build off of it. And I actually feel like this was really great. So thank you guys. Always. Thank you so much for your love and support. I'm so grateful every single day. It means the absolute world to me. I never can believe this is my life. I can't believe I get to help people through my content. And I just can't believe people care about me and support me and love me. And I really appreciate you guys being here on the podcast. If you made it to the end of the episode, a virtual high five for you. I really appreciate it. And I love you guys so much. And you make me so happy. And just thanks for making my life so special. And thank you for sharing your life with me. I know I always want to say that. Like, I know I share my life with you. And I put so much of my life out there on the internet, but I also acknowledge that you guys are sharing your life with me. And it's really special and it means the world to me. And I'm just having a blast and so much fun. So I love you guys. And remember that saving money is treating yourself. Bye.